Chapter 11 of Martha by the Day by Julie M. Lippmann. This Librivox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 11. It was almost 10 o'clock when Claire left the house. She waited to see Radcliffe properly fed and put to bed before she went. She covered him up and tucked him in as in all his life he had never been covered up and tucked in before. Then, dinnerless and faint, she slipped out into the bleak night. She was too exhausted to feel triumphant over her conquest. The only sensations she realized were a dead weariness that hung on her spirit and body like a palpable weight, and far down in her heart something that smouldered and burned like a live ember, ready to burst forth and blaze at a touch. She had walked but a block or two when through her numbness crept a dim little shadow of dread. At first it was nothing more than an inner suggestion to hasten her steps, but gradually it became a conscious impulse to outstrip something or someone behind her, someone or something whose footfalls, resounding faintly through the deserted street, kept such an accurate pace with her own that they sounded like their echo. It was not until she'd quickened her steps and found that the others' steps had quickened too, not until she'd slowed down to almost a saunter, only to discover that the one behind was lagging also, that she acknowledged to herself she was being followed. Then from out the far reaches of her memory came the words of Aunt Amelia's formula. "Sir, you are no gentleman, if you were a gentleman." But straightway followed Martha's trenchant criticism. "Believe me, that's rot. Might all go right on the stage for a girl to stop and let off some elocution while the villains still pursued her. But here in New York City it wouldn't work. Not on your life it wouldn't. Villains ain't pausing these busy days in their mad careers for no resuscitation stunts. I don't care how genteel you get 'em off. If they're on the job you got to step lively and not linger round for no sweet farewells. Now, you got your little temper with you all right. If you also got a umbrella, why you just make a combine of the two and aim for the bull's eye. Through his nose will do just as good, especially if it's the bleeding variety. No, policemen ain't what I'd recommend for being called to the rescue. In the first place, they ain't apt to be there, and besides, they wouldn't know what to do if they was. Policemen is funny that way. They mean well, but they get upset if anything's doing on their beat. They like things quiet, and they don't like to run in their friends, and so by the time you think you made 'em understand what you're driving at, the villain has got away, and you're like to be hauled up before the magistrate for disturbing the peace, which, being so shy and bashful before high officials, policemen don't like to blow in at court without something to show for the way they've been working." It all flashed across Claire's mind in an instant, like a picture thrown across a screen. Then, without pausing to consider what she meant to do, she halted, turned, and was face to face with Francis Ronald. Before he could speak, she flashed upon him 2 angry eyes. "What do you mean by following me?" "It is late, too late for you to be out in the streets alone," he answered quietly. Claire laughed. "You forget I'm not a society girl. I'm a girl who works for her living. I can't carry a chaperon about with me wherever I go. I must take care of myself, and I know how to do it. I'm not afraid." "I believe you." "Then, good night." "I intend to see you home." "I don't need you." "Nevertheless, I intend to see you home." "I don't want you." "Notwithstanding which," he hailed a passing motor taxi, gave the chauffeur Martha's street and number, after he had succeeded in extracting them from Claire, and then, in spite of protests, helped her in. For a long time she sat beside him in silence, trying to quell in herself a weak inclination to shed tears, because he'd compelled her to do something against her will. He did not attempt any conversation, and when at last she spoke, it was of her own accord. "I've decided to resign my position." "Is it permitted me to know why?" "I can't stay." "That is no explanation." "I don't feel I can manage Radcliffe." "Pardon me, you know you can. You have proved it. He is your bond slave from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer." Claire laughed, a sharp, cutting little laugh that was like a keen knife turned on herself. "Oh, it would have to be for poorer, all right, as Martha says," she cried scornfully. "But it has been too hard today. I can't endure any more." "You won't have to. Radcliffe is conquered, so far as you're concerned. 'Twill be plain sailing after this." "I'd rather do something else. I'd like something different." "I did not think you were a quitter." "I'm not." "Oh, yes, you are, if you give up before the game is done. No good sport does that." "I've no ambition to be a good sport." "Perhaps not, but you are a good sport, a thorough good sport, and you won't give up till you've seen this thing through." "Is that a prediction or a command? It sounds like a command." "It is whatever will hold you to the business you've undertaken. I want you to conquer the rest, as you've conquered Radcliffe." "The rest?" "Yes." "What do you mean by the rest?" "I mean circumstances. I mean obstacles. I mean my mother, my sister." "I don't understand." "Perhaps not. And suppose, forgive me if I seem rude, suppose I don't consider the rest worth conquering. Why should I? What one has to strive so for is worth the most. One has to strive for everything in this world, everything that is really worthwhile. One has to strive to get it. One has to strive to keep it." "Well, I don't think I care very much tonight if I never get anything ever again in all my life to come." "Poor little tired girl." Claire's chin went up with a jerk. "I don't need your pity. I won't have it. I am a stranger to you and to your friends. I am—" The defiant chin began to quiver. "If you were not so tired," Francis Ronald said gravely, "I'd have this thing out with you here and now. I'd make you tell me why you so wilfully misunderstand, why you seem to take pleasure in saying things that are meant to hurt me and must hurt you. As it is—" Claire turned on him impetuously. "I don't ask you to make allowances for me. If I do what displeases you, I give you perfect liberty to find fault. I'm not too tired to listen. But as to your making me do or say anything I don't choose, why—" He shook his head. "I'm afraid you are a hopeless proposition, at least for the present. Perhaps some time I may be able to make you understand. Forgive me, I should say, perhaps some time you may be willing to understand." Their chauffeur drew up beside the curbstone in front of Martha's door, then sprang down from his seat to prove to his lordly-looking fare that he knew his business, and was deserving of as large a tip as a correct estimate of his merit might suggest. Francis Ronald took Claire's key from her, fitted it into the lock of the outer door, and opened it for her. "And you will stand by Radcliffe? You won't desert him?" he asked, as she was about to pass into the house. "I'll show you that, at least. I'm not a quitter, even if I am a hopeless proposition, as you say." A faint shadow of a smile flitted across his face as, with head held proudly erect, she turned and left him. "No, you're not a quitter," he muttered to himself, "but neither am I." The determined set of his jaw would have rekindled that inner rebellious fire in Claire if she'd seen it. But she was seeing nothing just at that moment save Martha, who, to her amazement, stood ready to receive her in the inner hall. "Ain't it just grand?" inquired Mrs. Slosson. "They told me yesterday, all things being equal, they'd maybe leave us back soon, but I didn't put no stock in it, knowing they never is equal. So I just held my tongue and waited, and this morning, like a bolster out of a blue sky, came the word that at noon we could go. Believe me, I didn't wait for no old shoes of rice to be through after me. I got into their old ambulance carriage as happy as a blushing bride being led to the altar, and Francie and me come away rejoicing. Say, what ails you? You look sorter like a strange relation or something. What you been doing to yourself to get so white and holler-eyed? What kept you so late? I had a tussle with Radcliffe. Who won out? I did, but it took me all day. Never mind. It had been cheap at the price if it had took you all week. How come the madam give you a free hand? She was away. Anybody else know what was going on? Any of the family? Yes, Mr. Ronald. He brought me home. I didn't want him to, but he did. He just made me let him. And oh, Martha, I can't bear. You mean you can't bear him? Claire nodded, choking back her tears. Now, what do you think of that? Ejaculated Mrs. Slosson pensively. And he's so popular with the ladies. Why, you ought to hear them stylish lady friends of Mrs. Sherman praising him to her face. It'd make you blush for their modesty, which they don't seem to have none, and that's a fact. You can take it from me, you're the only one he ever come in contact with has such a hate on him. I wouldn't have believed it unless I'd had it from off of your own lips. But there's no use trying to argue such things. Taste is different. What pleases one pleases another. In the meantime, and it is a meantime for you, you poor wore-out child, I've some things here, hot and tasty, that'll encourage your stomach, no matter how it's turned on some other things. As I says to Sammy, it's a poor stomach won't warm its own bit, but all the same, there's times when something steaming does your heart as much good as it does your stomach, which the two of them being such near neighbours, no wonder we get 'em mixed up sometimes, and think the one is starved when it's only the other. End of chapter 11. Read by Sandra.